What's up, guys? This is your head coach Kuya Kyle for Fit Gamer, and for today's class, we will continue our How to Easily Beat Annoying Character series with Min Min and Lucina. So, tips to win against the two characters. This will be a general guide on how to beat the common pain point characters, starting with Arms Min Min and Fire Emblems Marth / Lucina. If you want to see tips against a certain character, let me know in the comments below. These are both characters recommended by the last video, and people have commented. I want to do these videos for y'all. So again, if there's any questions that you have, or if there's any character that you want me to cover, you gotta let me know down in the comments. And while you're down there, it doesn't hurt to subscribe or drop a like. It helps the channel a lot. So thank you for those that commented. Let's go over let's go over our itinerary today. We'll do our preface. We'll go over Min Min strengths, tips against Min Min. Then we'll do Marth and Lucina strengths, and then tips against Marth and Lucina. But a quick preface, like I did before, when talking about annoying characters, please turn your negative emotions about something into an opportunity to learn and grow in the game. If you are struggling in a matchup, that is an opportunity for you to level up and grow. If it was easy, anyone can be doing it, but if you recognize that you're having a hard time, that is when you have to decide to level up your own game and learn, so that when you have future matches, you'll be prepared. And also, even though I'm using the term annoying for the series, someone in the world is gonna find your main character annoying no matter what. So it's important to focus on improving yourself rather than being worried about what others may say. So I main Yoshi. I've received my fair share of people saying, "Oh, I don't like playing against Yoshi. He's so annoying." But as a coach who has worked with people for many different characters, I've always heard people complain about someone else, and it doesn't matter who it could be. Like, whatever character you play as, someone out there is gonna be very disgusted that you play blank character. So don't worry about it too much. Just focus on you, focus on improving yourself, and don't pay too much mind to those that might say like your character might be annoying. Like, you're chilling, you're fine, it's okay. With that being said, let's start off with Min Min. The Min Min's a very polarizing character, but some strengths that Min Min has is that she is the distance demon. Look at this fantastic range with her smash attack. She has access to the longest reaching normals in the game. Her neutral B allows her to switch arm properties. So there's her Ram, which is the circle one, Megawatt, which is like the big wrecking ball, and a dragon, which is, a dragon, which is this one, where you could shoot a beam after the initial swing. And another strength that Min Min has that not a lot of people think about is that she has the ability to walk and jump during her arm strikes, which makes it a lot harder for opponents to pin Min Min down while she's swinging those two arms of hers. So the first tip that I have playing against Min Min is this 3-step process, which is shield, corner, and punish. Most Min Min players will rely on their iconic 1-2 tilts to control the stage and outrange opponents. However, if you know that Min Min can throw out 2 swings max, take the end lag time. Oh, oops. Misclick. That's the first misclick of the series. Take the end lag of their swings to push them back to the corner. So when Min Min is swinging those tilt attacks, they have the choice to swing either 1 or 2. And after they're done picking one, they have a lot of end lag. And if you know that they like to do 2, shield the second one, and after they like tag you with the second hit, that's when you approach and close the gap while they'll most likely be retreating at that time. And once you have Min Min cornered in a spot where they can't really run away anymore, you force this close quarter combat situation where Min Min is not strong in. Like, Min Min is strongest when there is a lot of space between you and her. So if you're able to close the gap and be more like face to face, she has a lot less options. So here's what it kind of looks like in real time. Shield, 1, 2, approach. Shield, 1, 2, approach. And now we get the combo of Min Min. Again, shield, 1, 2, shield, 1, 2, and then you approach. After you see that second swing, that is your time to strike. Or not even strike, just like get closer. And if you get closer, that's a lot better for you. The second tip that I have for you is to predict their arm choice. It's pretty predictable if they're going to use either Ram Ram or Megawatt. Not a lot of Min Min players will even consider using Dragon as their option. But Ram Ram is her fastest arm that can curve. So this is one's Ram Ram. So you shoot it, and then it kind of swings up a little bit and then comes back. Ram Ram's a lot better for lower percent combos. It's really great for edge guarding, and it's really good for poking at your opponent. And Megawatt is a lot slower, but it has a harder hit to it, which is really good at high percent when their opponent's at high percent. So if you're Min Min, or you're playing against Min Min, if you're at low percent, expect Ram Ram more, and if you're at high percent, expect the Megawatt to come out more. And just being aware of this is vital when you're approaching Min Min, just because you know what to expect and not really get caught off guard when you're seeing like these different types of arms. A lot of people kind of get caught up in the moment and just wants to fight Min Min straight up. But if you're not being aware of which arm that they're using, you're not taking care of like what the spacing is like, how punishing can a move be, and not doing the homework or taking the time to recognize what they're using can lead to you taking more percent. And I want you to consider their arm choice for both their tilt attack. So this is like I outlined the range of it. So the Ram Ram do have more range than the Megawatt, but also consider this move when Min Min does their nair. So they could do a nair that is specific for each arm. So the Ram Ram nair comes out faster, better for combos, but then the Megawatt nair is probably better to take stocks and KO. So just keep these in mind when you're fighting against her. And lastly, Min Min, although she has some of the best normals in the game and some of the best neutral in the game, her disadvantage state is pretty tough. So for starters, Min Min does not have access to good combo breaking options, and that also means that she also has subpar air speeds. This combination of not having good combo breaking options and subpar air speeds means that she's very easy to juggle, very easy to combo, and it's very difficult for Min Min to escape these combo situations for her. Adding on to that, her recovery is subpar despite it being a tether recovery. It does have a pretty good amount of range for what it is, but it has no active hitbox when you're trying to latch to the ledge, so it's really easy to intercept it with some type of long-lasting aerial. Because Min Min's only recovery option is up B, her recovery routes and angles are very limited already too. And going back to like that lack of airspeed piles onto this poor recovery issue. So I'll play this clip just to show how easy it is to kind of gimp Min Min's recovery. And that's really all it needed. Like, if you're able to recognize how little resources Min Min has off stage, really push it, and you might be able to turn the tide of a battle just because Min Min made one mistake off stage. So if you notice that if you get a hit, if you get a combo, or you get an edge guard opportunity, really push it, because that's your time to get rewarded for breaking the gap between you and her. And you want to get rewarded. If you give her like that respect and just going for, quick tags here and there, it might not be enough for you to win against Min Min. All right, now let's talk about Lucina and Marth. Some strengths of these characters is that they have really quick range normals with above average frame data and above average damage output. Um, both these characters are quite mobile. They're really fast overall with their ground speed and air speed, and it's paired with their pretty safe aerials on shield. So Nair 2 is -3 on shield if spaced properly, and Fair is -6 on shield, which is if spaced properly. And on a sword hitbox, these are really good. Every move has some application in any fight. So Marth and Lucina, they don't really have like a useless tool. Every move has some type of application. And because of that, there's a lot of room for creativity when using these characters. So for some examples or some traits to keep in mind to help with your creativity if you play Marth or Lucina is that your up B when you're in the air gives you intangibility between frames 1 and 5. So you do have a really nice combo breaking option here, and if someone tried to intercept your recovery, you could preemptively do up B to kind of slash at them with no worry about trading because you have intangibility. You have your neutral B shield breaker to, well, break shields, and you have down tilt that could set up tech chase scenarios really easily. So those are just 3 examples that I have for Marth and Lucina. One difference between Marth and Lucina, though, if you don't know, is that Marth gets a tipper sword, where he does more damage and knockback when you hit with the tip of the sword, but you do less damage when you go for like the hilt of the sword. When Lucina's sword is just a standard sword where it doesn't matter where you hit them, it's just a more uniform hitbox throughout all of her moves. Most people will play Lucina over Marth due to this. She's just considered more consistent, but if you play against a Marth will be focusing a little bit more on landing tippers over a Lucina. The first tip that I have for Marth and Lucina is to bob and weave. Although these aerials are very safe on shield, the hitboxes are not active for very long. So Fair is active for only 2 frames with almost half a second of end lag. And if they don't space their aerials properly, which means like they're hitting your shield as low to the ground as popular, you can easily punish them out of shield. So you see in this shot right here, even though I said that Fair is -6 on shield, because she's doing it higher and hitting like the tip of or the top of my shield, punish this out of shield is a lot easier. So what I'm trying to get at before I play the clip is that when an opponent is throwing out aerials, it's better to use shielding, movement, and dodges like rolls or spot dodges to force them to whiff, and then you can punish right after because they don't last that very long. You want to kind of force their spacing to become unsafe rather than just letting them swing for free. Another thing you could do is to bait them into swing into one spot, move out of the way, but still be close enough to punish them right after. So if I play this clip here, it's pretty fast, but Lucina will swing unsafely on my shield, and I get a punish for it. So that's the example I have. Every character has some type of out of shield option that could be fast enough, but the main point here is to use your defensive options to force them to hit your shield improperly or just miss outright so that you punish them after. If you try to go head to head with a sword move, you're just going to get hit because the sword is a disjointed hitbox. If you try to like punch a sword, you're going to get cut. So instead, let the sword come by, let it swing and miss, and then that's when you start punching. The second tip is the force predictable approaches. So this one is where if you have, or I'm going too fast, the nature of Lucina and Marth's toolkit forces them to stay at kind of like a close mid-range to their opponent. If they aren't in an effective range, there is no pressure they can really place on you. So in this spacing here, nothing Lucina can do can like immediately harm me, so I'm chilling. And because of this fact, if you have some form of projectile or a resource gathering move, such as Steve mining or cloud charging limit, you can force them to take the initiative and punish their approach because they can't do anything to disrupt you from throwing projectiles or getting resources. they have to come to you, and as you watch them approach you, you could react accordingly. If you don't have any projectile or any resource gathering move, you might have to ignore this tip, unfortunately. But let me play the clip here. So right now, Rob is just going to, fire some projectiles away to just get some quick pressure. And now that they force themselves into a position, I could go into like my advantage state and kind of just do what I want to do. So that is one way to kind of play against the Lucina matchup, is like to let them come to you. And if they do something very predictable and punishable, you take advantage of that. That's really it. And your projectiles don't even have to be that good necessarily, but you're basically telling your opponent, like, you have to come to me. Like, I don't want to run into your swings. You have to make an effort to meet me. And once you get that into the Lucina player's mind, it's a lot easier to make them like miss their aerials. Like when tip 1, you can force more whip punishes if you're making them do all the work. And it keeps you in a more safe situation, I would say. And the third tip that I would have to give for Marth and Lucina is what I'm calling the simple problem means simple solution. Lucina and Marth are considered the fundamental swordy characters in Smash Ultimate. And they don't have any like big gimmicks or special character traits. They don't have any unique abilities besides maybe Marth's Tipper, but even then that's not like a game breaking mechanic that forces you to play differently. It's just his sword just acts a little different. Lucina and Marth are really good at a lot of the things that they do. They have good movement, they have good edge guarding, they have good normals, they have a good kit. But they don't necessarily excel at something. They don't have any crazy 0 to death combos. They don't have any X factors like comeback mechanics like Terry's Go or Joker's Arsene or like Lil Mac's KO Punch. They don't have access to anything, flashy like that. And because their whole move kit being pretty simple, it makes their game plans pretty linear, and it's pretty obvious to see what a Lucina and Marth is going for. Like if they want to do tech chasing, they're gonna try to get a down tilt. If they want to take your stock outright, they're probably gonna do like forward smash, side B, or back air. If they want to juggle you, they're gonna do up tilts and up airs. If they want to do like a grab combo, well, they're gonna probably do down throw into like up air or something. Their game plan, like, there's not much to it, and it's a very simple like cookie cutter process where if they do get a combo, it's like a couple hits for a true combo. It's very easy to adapt to this style or this character because there's not much that you have to worry about. It's not like Olimar's Pikmin where it's like, uh-oh, they got a blue Pikmin, so I gotta watch out for grabs now, or they have 2 purples, so they're gonna have like stronger projectiles or like a meteor hit. With Lucy and Marth, you just have to use like fundamental knowledge that you would normally use against any sortie and just apply that to this matchup. So I would consider Lucina and Marth kind of like those matchup check characters where like, do you know how to deal with a sortie? And these tips that we have with 1 and 2, they'll help you with those like these matchups, but at the end of the day, there's not too much to worry about after you get like the basics down, because once you play against like a Lucina and Marth that has some semblance of they know what to do, you can apply that matchup knowledge to a lot of other Marth and Lucinas, because like their move kit is just so linear where like, if anything, what makes a Lucina main really great is their execution and their own personal like options. But there's a reason why there's not a lot of Lucinas and Marths in like competitive play anymore, where it's just they're getting outshined by other sorties that can do what they do, but they have something that they excel in, or they have some type of special character trait. I'm not saying these characters are bad at all, by the way. Like these two are like really good characters, but you don't have to do rocket science to beat these guys. It's just if you struggle against them, it's great because then you start learning the swordy matchup that you could apply to other characters too. But once you solve it, it's kind of like riding a bike almost. But yeah, that's probably my third tip. Just like because it is just a simple, nice character, simple and clean character. You don't have to do too much. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to understand how they work, and then it's smooth sailing from there. Oh, whoopsies. That went on for a while, so we're gonna do a quick recap. Oh, that's way too far about the recap. So today we're gonna go over tips to win against Min Min and Marth / Lucina. We went over the preface already. Min Min's strengths include that she is the distance demon, her neutral B allows to switch arm properties, and she has the ability to walk and jump during her arm strikes. The first tip that I have against Min Min is to shield, corner, and punish. So you know that Min Min swings twice max. So after the second swing, that's when you approach. Tip number 2 is to predict their arm choice. If you're at low percents, they're probably going to use Ram Ram. And if you're at high percent, they're probably going to use Megawatt. And tip number 3 is that Min Min has a very tough disadvantage state. So if you're comboing them or edge guarding them, really push her as far as you can until it resets to neutral. Some strengths for Lucina and Marth include that they have quick range normals with above average frame data and damage output. They have great mobility paired with safe aerials on shield. Every move has some type of application, leaving room for a lot of creativity. And the difference between Marth and Lucina is that Marth gets a tipper sword, where he does more damage and knockback at the tip, where Lucina only gets a uniform, consistent sword. The first tip against Lucina and Marth is the bob and weave. So if you make their aerials unsafe on shield by either blocking, dodging, or moving, you punish them afterwards. The second tip is the forced predictable approaches. Because of the nature of their move kit, Lucina and Marth don't really have a way to punish you from afar, so they have to come to you. If you have any form of projectile or resource gathering move, you can force them to take the initiative and punish their approach. And lastly, because Lucina and Marth are good at a lot of things, but they don't excel at something, it makes their game plans very linear and therefore a lot easier to adapt to. Thank you so much for joining me with this class, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.